So several, in fact, I think maybe all of you on that last question brought up the whole issue of parklands. So let me just, let me focus there briefly on in terms of the next question. Depending on who you talk to, there's some fairly significant number of people. I'm getting these wonderful questions from Julio Iglesias. Dude, anyway, this has to do with, I know, right? This has to do with parklands and the encroachment on our parklands. There's some evidence out there that there's been a number of encroachments over the years, which either means that people have used parkland to build out onto, or have blocked parklands by dense foliage or other ways that would actually keep people from them. There have been some citations issued, but there actually has been little or no enforcement. And so I guess my question is, if you were on the city council, what would you do regarding parkland encroachment and protection?
Who's up?
I'm sorry. Jim, I think we start with you.
Sure. I think obviously parkland encroachments need to be addressed. There is, frankly, the city doesn't even have a choice in the matter. The deed restrictions require that they be used for a public recreational purpose, and so to the extent that there are encroachments into parklands, they have to be removed. I'll say of our parklands, I think that they are absolutely worthy of being preserved. I also think that they are unfortunately not very well maintained, many of them, and I think that that is something that the next council should take up, because I think it is an important quality of life issue. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Dawn?
Okay, so for me, there's two aspects to this. I'm going to start with the encroachments, and then I'm going to pick up on a little bit of what Jim just talked about. Historically, it seems that some of the codes and ordinances haven't been consistently enforced. At least that's some of the things I hear from people when I go door to door and talk to them. And the parklands, they belong to all residents, and much good work has been done by staff. And I know some residents around identifying encroachments, categorizing them, and at a meeting, I believe a council meeting back in maybe March, April timeframe, council gave feedback around starting to prioritize the encroachments. There's a difference between a wall and hardscape or vegetation or something. So that work just needs to be completed, and then it needs to be put into action. And as part of that, there needs to be transparency. Residents have the right to know what encroachments exist and violations are out there, what actions have been taken, and there needs to be a fair appeals process. So council just needs to give a loop back with staff and finalize that and get it into action. One of the things that Jim just talked about was really around the broader question of parklands, and that has to do with our trails and just the parklands in general. And part of what council needs to figure out is, how do we make sure that we're maintaining the other aspects of the parklands, such as the trails, and making them accessible and in good condition for safe usage by the residents, because that's part of our quality of life. It's part of our fitness. It's part of who we are.
Okay, thank you. Gain?
So one of the reasons everyone seems to cite is the reason they moved here is the parklands. And I do know that several members of the Palos Verdes residents for responsible government, I guess I can name them, John Harbison and Reed Schott, spent thousands of hours studying on the maps encroachments in this city, and we owe them a great debt, because they uncovered a lot of things that I'm not sure people did know or didn't know, but all of those encroachments. So once they get encroached on, once the parklands get encroached on, they're not usable for the public, and they were supposed to be for the public. I've attended many, many, many meetings of the Palos Verdes Homes Association. And the lack of enforcement on this issue is really something that needs to be addressed. They don't feel they can enforce it without people having to go to court. And he did end up going to court. So we don't want to go to court again. So I really think we need to address this problem head on, directly, and say, no, not acceptable to encroach on parkland, and to make the trails accessible to the public like they were supposed to be. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bill?
Yeah, I think the common theme here is that parklands are almost sacred here because they're for the enjoyment of everybody. And where encroachments exist, they need to be corrected. And I don't know how far we can go in enforcement as far as giving citations or just what we have to do exactly. I think it's something to be looked into, but we need to get tough. I think we need to have fines that increase with time if you don't make a correction to your parkland encroachment. And I think enforcement is really the answer, and it seems everyone's pretty much agreed on that.
Okay.